great Paul Hetman is on the Chad Duke Show. Very excited. This man is in the middle of it all right now in the WWE, and the WWE will be here in Washington, D.C. on Saturday the 11th. That's just a couple of days away. Can't wait to actually see fans in front of SmackDown Raw superstars right there in D.C. Tickets are on sale. They are only $20. You can go to Ticketmaster.com or the Capital One Arena box office. Paul, it is great to have you, my friend.
I'm sure it is.
Well, first, let's start with the obvious. You're a performer. You obviously feed off the crowd. You interact with them. It seems to be a bit of a cat and mouse give and take with you all. How good is it doing what you do now in front of WWE fans in an arena again?
Spiritually orgasmic.
It has to be. You can tell with the energy already and the way that people are embracing the product being back and in front of them. And what an incredible time. Kudos to you and to the Bloodline. My God, vanquishing John Cena, of course, dispatching Finn Balor. I would ask, what more worlds do you have to conquer at this point?
Oh, there are plenty of worlds, plenty of universes, plenty of multiverses, plenty of metaverses for Roman Reigns to assert his dominance and declare all of these properties throughout the known and unknown universe, multiverse, metaverse to be the property of the tribal chief.
Well, let's start there. You have been around and developed some of the pinnacle of the talent in this industry, whether it's for the WWE or other promotions. You always seem to have had an eye for this, but just as far as pound for pound gifted athletes that you have worked with, where does Roman Reigns rank on that list?
At the very top, and at the very top as a performer as well. Not discounting the athletic endeavors and the athletic success and the athletic ability of Brock Lesnar, who was a once ever athlete as well. Roman Reigns also needs to go down in history as one of the greatest performers in the history of sports entertainment, if not the greatest of all time.
I think that people say that and they say that's Paul Hetman doing his job. But when you speak about, first of all, the family and the expectation there, and then to be in one of the biggest stables of all time, the Shield, and to go through what he's gone with his health and to come back and kind of redefine himself with his family and with your guidance. I mean, trials and tribulations, there's not struggle. You're not going to find a lot of success without struggles. He's had it all despite how gifted he is. And I think that's a main reason why he finds himself kind of at the tip of the spear of the business right now.
I can understand why some people would perceive that I embellish or that I exaggerate or that a lot of what I say is hyperbole. But I would also suggest that the reason Brock Lesnar and I were such a successful combination for 2 decades is because I didn't have to think about what I was going to say. There's nothing I said that wasn't true. It's like the first time I came back in 2012 and I made mention of the fact that Brock was the only person in history to hold the NCAA Division I Heavyweight Championship, the UFC Heavyweight Championship, and the WWE Heavyweight Championship. And everybody sat there and went, "Ooh, I never looked at it that way." I don't have to hype up Brock Lesnar, and I don't have to hype up Roman Reigns. That's what makes my job as special counsel so easy. It's so easy because all I have to do is be authentic. All I have to do is speak the truth. And the truth is that Roman Reigns is the best on the face of the planet right now and the greatest of all time.
You're in a tight spot, though, as we all know, and I had a question for you. You were asked this question by the Usos on SmackDown a couple of weeks back after Brock Lesnar had returned and surprised everybody in the business, and they asked you point blank, did you know he was coming back? You denied it, but I'd love to know how much in contact you've been with Brock. Did you know that he had an inkling of wanting to get back into the ring? Did you know that he wanted to get back into a ring that Roman Reigns was in? How much did you know at that point?
I mean, do you really think that Brock Lesnar needs my permission to do anything that he wants to do? Do you really think hey, I have this idea. What do you think? But that's not what Brock Lesnar does. But Brock Lesnar makes a decision. He does whatever the hell he wants to do. And everybody else on the face of the planet just has to deal with the fallout from it. That's it. That's what Brock Lesnar is. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't seek guidance in advance of his decisions. He makes his decisions. He invades whatever territory or platform he feels like invading. He conquers everything in his sight. And then everybody has to sit there and say, oh, okay, what do we do from here?
I would take you at your word, but you did receive a phone call from Brock Lesnar on SmackDown where he still felt comfortable enough to convey a message. Hey, I'm showing up on SmackDown on Friday. You're the guy he called for that, to give that message to Roman Reigns. It seems like there's still quite a relationship there.
Of course there's a relationship there. Look at the history that we carved out together over the course of 20 years. How could Brock Lesnar not want to inform me that he's coming to Madison Square Garden? Why wouldn't he want to get the hype associated with coming to Madison Square Garden by calling me on live television? What a magnificent publicity stunt by Brock Lesnar, and I applaud him for learning from me after all of these years and during all of these years how to get your name out into the headlines without ever people seeing you or even hearing your voice. What a coup by Brock Lesnar on live Friday night television.
Yeah, and they're going to be able, this Friday night, 8 o'clock, Fox prime time, Brock is showing up, and I would assume he's going to want to at least communicate in some way, shape, or form with the tribal chief. The great Paul Hetman is on the Chad Duke Show, at Heyman Hustle on Twitter, and of course Instagram, at Paul Hetman. Talk to me about the super shows. It's not often you get to see, house shows are great energy. You get to see stuff you normally wouldn't when you have to take television into consideration. If nobody's ever been to them, they're less expensive. I love them. You don't often get to see the champion at a house show. And not only are you going to see Roman Reigns, you're going to see the Usos. You've been through a lot of these, Paul. Talk a little bit about, for my audience, maybe people that are on the fence, what is the difference between going to see this product live as opposed to watching it on television?
Well, on television, it's like watching a video of a music festival or those college games, and the videos always go viral. And before the teams come out, they play jump around, and the entire audience is bopping up and down and going crazy.
Sure.
That's what it's like during a Roman Reigns match now. We were on Fox Live last Friday, and Roman Reigns successfully, of course, defended the Universal Championship against Finn Balor. And this is actually caught on camera, and I'm semi-embarrassed by it because of that. But there's a moment where, if you look, I'm looking around the arena, and I'm realizing not only is everybody standing, because standing doesn't really mean a lot. Because if people in the front row stand, people behind them are going to stand, and people behind them are going to stand, and people behind them are going to stand. But these people were standing, and they're flailing their arms, and they're jumping up and down, and they're going crazy, and they're screaming, and they're having the time of their lives, the absolute time of their lives, just taking a look at and understanding and acknowledging the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And to me, that's just the greatest atmosphere that you can be a part of. And people can be a part of it live when Roman Reigns and the Usos, the most progressive, the most transformative tag team of the past 20 years, appear live this weekend.
It's going to be tremendous. You can go to the Capital One Arena box office or Ticketmaster.com. You made some headline. Gable Stevenson's a guy that has been linked to the WWE for a long time, linked to you specifically. You have, this is a guy that everyone's well aware of, but people benefit when they ally themselves with you, when they take your counsel. How interested would you be into welcoming into the fold?
Well, I mean, knowing someone behind the scenes and helping them behind the scenes. And I've known the Stevenson family for several years now. I introduced Gable to Brock Lesnar, who helped train Gable for the NCAA Division I Heavyweight Championship, the Dan Gable Trophy, the Olympics, and the gold medal that Gable Stevenson won. And I know Gable's brother, Bobby Stevenson, who is now part of NXT. So I I've known the family for quite a long time. Now, does that mean that Gable Steveson, Olympic gold medalist, one of the hottest sports properties on the face of the planet today, becomes a Paul Heyman guy? If he continues his trajectory, if he continues on the navigation that he's on at the moment, it's certainly a consideration. It's no one to just turn my back on, and it's someone that I have great respect and admiration for. Let's not put that pressure on Gable Steveson to live up to the accomplishments of people that have been on television with Paul Heyman quite just yet. Let's let him understand what he's getting himself into, make a career choice, and then train as only Gable Steveson can train. And then let's see what happens when he debuts on television.
2 days from now, when you are on SmackDown, you're in Madison Square Garden. You know, that's where people go to watch professional wrestling when it means a lot. If you're standing in the ring and Roman Reigns is in that ring and Brock Lesnar is in that ring, give me a thumbnail of how you think that's going to go, Paul.
Either really, 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 really good for Paul Heyman, or really, 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 really bad for Paul Heyman. It will be, to borrow an expression from an earlier part of my life, quite extreme no matter what.
You do seem to find yourself in the center of a bunch of professional wrestling hurricanes on a very, it doesn't seem to matter the date on the calendar either, Paul. It seems to be omnipresent.
I'm a storm chaser.
That's a great way to call it. HeymanHustle.com, at Heyman Hustle on Twitter, and Paul Heyman on Instagram. And make sure you get out there. Capital One Arena, the WWE is back in Washington, D.C. Very excited. Tickets starting at $20. Paul, it is a pleasure. As you pointed out earlier in this interview, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for your time.
I concur with your assessment.
The great Paul Heyman, everybody, on The Chad Duke Show.